Hello and welcome to the Wonderful World of Knitting podcast, episode 7, I believe. Welcome back, any returning viewers, and welcome to any new viewers. Yes, welcome to my channel. My name is Kathleen and I'm coming to you from the United Kingdom, and I'm coming to you on Sunday. We are 1 week now before Christmas, and it's just crazy how time flies. I cannot believe that it's just Christmas is just around the corner. I'm one of those that is always late to the party, to the Christmas party, I must add. Even though I have everything sorted, I always get everything organized. However, there's still, I think, in terms of the Christmas feeling, the Christmas spirit, that's always coming just maybe a week before Christmas. So it's coming now for sure. So yes, so to any new viewers, this is a knitting channel where I talk about all my knitting, my adventures and everything. So yes, thank you for any returning viewers. Thank you for spending this time with me today. It's lovely to see you, and I really appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, please leave comments below as well. Please tell me what you're working on. Always looking for new inspiration. Tell me what you're up to now. Do you get a lot of knitting done in the Christmas time? I hope so. I have 4 more days of work and then I'm off as well for over a week. So I hope I get lots of knitting done as well. We'll actually be going to Germany too, to see my parents. I'm originally from Germany, but have lived here in London for 17 years. So yes, my partner, my kids and I, we go to Germany to visit my family and spend some time over there, which would be nice. We're just going shortly after Christmas though, so that should be alright. Should be relaxing, I hope. So yes, I'm drinking a lovely coffee today, instant coffee. Just a plain instant coffee mixed with a little bit of the caramel coffee with caramel flavor. That's quite nice. So actually so this is going to be actually 2 episodes in one, because I did record an episode for you about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and was a nice episode and all, nothing wrong with the episode itself, but I could not find the motivation to go ahead and edit the video. We all struggle sometimes with motivation, especially this time of the year, with the lack of vitamin D. You know, you do have sometimes where you just feel low, and I certainly felt like that in the last few days. And it's okay to say that, you know, I didn't feel too great, and I didn't have the motivation. I actually enjoy the video editing part at the end. It's not that I'm dreading it, I enjoy it. Yeah, but as I said, I couldn't find the motivation. So I still would like to, I want to join those 2 videos together. This episode and the episode that I recorded a few weeks ago. But it's going to be I'm just going to call it episode 7. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to now play the episode from 2 or 3 weeks ago, so you can see all the progress that I've been making in the last, since I've last podcasted really. So I'm going to just play that, and then at the end of it I shall come back, and actually the projects that you will see now, obviously they all had some work done, so you can see the latest progress, which is as of today basically. So I'm just going to play this now, and I shall speak to you again soon. Let's talk about knitting. This one's going to be a quick episode because I'm planning to rush out and bring my finished object to my friend. So for any of your returning viewers, you probably know that I'm knitting, or I have knitted a birthday present for my friend, and so it was her birthday on Monday, and I'm bringing her her present now. I was working throughout the week, so I didn't have a chance to bring it to her. And so yeah, this is going to be a quick episode, just quick. I want to show you the latest projects and cast on, things like that, and finished object before I shall gifted to my friend as a birthday present, as a late birthday present. So let's start. I'm going to go straight into the knitting. There's not much else to say really. Going to go straight in. Show and tell. I want to show you these fingerless gloves. Oh, what's stuck there? Yes, I want to show, this is in my show and tell section. I just show things that I've knitted in the past, and I'm just going to put it on my hand now and show you. So these are fingerless gloves, and the pattern is by Stacey Perry, Very Pink Knits. I really like her, and yeah, she does great tutorials. Probably many of you know Stacey already. So yeah, this is my, I think it may, the name of the pattern may be just Cabled Fingerless Mitts, if I'm not mistaken. And it's such a gorgeous color with these cables. So you've got 2x2 webbing here, and it runs up all the way into the cable, which I think is so beautiful. And yeah, now that it's winter time, it's perfect for the winter. So I shall link it below for any of you who are interested, who like it. And the yarn, I do not remember what yarn I used, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm just taking a quick drink now. Get yourself comfortable, get yourself a lovely drink. Something more exciting than what I currently have. I am drinking just water right now. So yeah, this is my quick show and tell. I think I knitted this a few years ago, I can't remember when. It was a bit tedious to knit though. I'm not a big fan of cables, I must say. I prefer lace. And let's make it quick, so I'm going to go into the next one now. Let's do finished objects now. So, my Halloween socks. I should really have brought my sock blocker down and put them on a sock blocker so you can see it better, but I haven't got it here with me now, so I just show you. So I've knitted these. I just finished them maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I finished the first sock before Halloween, and so I wasn't actually able to wear them for Halloween because I had only finished 1 sock before Halloween, and so yes, but I'll be able to wear them next year. So this is a toe-up construction. So you start here at the toe with the Judy's Magic cast on. You increase stitches here on the sides. Just make one left, make one right. Then you knit the foot. Then you will do the gusset increases, which is basically just increasing at these 2 points here. And then you have on needle 2, you have a higher number of stitches. What you will do then, oh by the way, this is a free pattern, or it used to be free when I got this pattern, when I printed it out. I actually searched for it the other day online and I couldn't find it anymore. So that makes me think that maybe it's no longer free. It was by Wendy Knits, and I always actually use this pattern. Even though it's a lace pattern, I just omit the lace part here. The pattern is called Diagonal Lace Socks, and as I just mentioned, I just don't knit the lace. But yeah, it's a really lovely and plain vanilla sock knitting otherwise, because once you've done the gusset increases here, you will turn the heel. And the reason really why I love knitting socks, and well, it's probably not the only reason, but one of the big reasons I love knitting socks is when I turn the heel, obviously you start knitting here, and then when you come to this point, you actually change the direction of your knitting, and I think this always excites me. I mean, it's just amazing and mind-blowing. Never fails to excite me. So you turn the heel by doing how does she do it? By doing German short. No, in the pattern it actually says do rub and turns, but I substitute the button rubs and turns with German short rows. They're much easier to do, and this way you don't have to pick up the rubs. I think many of you are already familiar with the German short rows. They're really cool how they work. And this actually changes the direction of your knitting. And then also you increase at the same time. And because you are increasing at the gusset, you have a bigger number of stitches. What you do then, once you've turned the heel, which is only a few rows, and then you're done, and then you would have already changed the direction of your knitting, you then have to knit back and forth still on this part. You leave this part here, the instep stitches I believe they're called, you leave them hanging on the needle and you knit here back and forth. And on each side, let me just turn this out like that, and so you can see it. If you can see this ridge here. It almost looks like you picked up stitches, but you don't. What you do is you knit back and forth, and on both sides you decrease your stitches by 1 stitch each time, either doing an SSK or a purl 2 together. So you decrease on each row, and this is what creates this ridge here. And so once you've done that, you then continue knitting in the round, you knit the ribbing and you bind off. So yes, I think a good benefit as well as one of the benefits of knitting toe up is you can try the sock on. And also, because of this way how this is knit, you do not have to actually pick up stitches and knit into them. Instead, you, as I just explained, you decrease the stitches, which gives you the same construction. So that's how I like to knit my socks. And it's definitely not the last one that I'm knitting. The yarn, it feels quite. So it's not 100% animal fibers. It has some synthetic in it. I cannot remember now. I think it's nylon. Quite a bit of nylon it has in it. I don't really like it that much. It feels a bit rough. It's not very soft. But hopefully it will be durable. Yeah, it was inexpensive yarn, so, but I won't use it again because it doesn't feel soft. It's not a rustic feel either. It's like a plastic feel, which is not nice. So, but yeah, love it. They do fit really well because I actually made an adjustment compared to how I knit my socks before. So when I measure my foot, I have 9 inches, and in the pattern it says start doing the gusset increases when you are 3 inches short of the total length of your foot. And before I would always start the gusset increases after 6 inches, which is 3 inches short of 9 inches, which is the length of my foot. However, then I've actually changed it because the other socks that I knitted in the past, I found they were quite too loose. And I absolutely hate it when I have loose socks because then they slide up and down. And so yeah, socks have to be tight fitting for me. Same with my hats, I like them to be tight fitting. So what I've done this time, instead of starting the gusset increases, I started doing them after 5.5 inches, which makes the overall length of the foot shorter, and this allows for a much better fit. Also, the other adjustment I made as well is I actually knitted them on 2.5mm needle, whereas before I would have knitted them on 2.75. So the more socks you knit, the more comfortable you get, the more you find out what you like and what works best for you, I think. The only thing that's left for me to figure out as I keep knitting socks, and I've knitted a few socks and I still have not figured it out, is the bind off. So at the moment what I have in here is a standard bind off, however bind off on bigger size needles. And the standard bind off doesn't have much give. Look, I'm pulling here. So when I actually put the sock on, it's a bit too tight on the widest part of the foot when it goes over your heel and the foot. So I can put it on, but it's a bit tight. So what I actually did, I whipped it out and I tried the stretchy bind off. If you're interested in the stretchy bind off, then have a look on YouTube. There are plenty of tutorials out there. The stretchy bind off is great, however, it flares out. So this part here is then too loose. So whereas this bind off is too tight, the stretchy bind off for socks is actually too loose. It flares out. So that's not good either. So then I ripped it out again, because this bind off is hard to do as well. I ripped it out again, and then I did the standard bind off again. So I went kind of back and forth. And undoing your bind off is no easy task, or no fun task, I should say. So I think what I'll do next time is, as I keep experimenting to make my socks perfect, I shall probably increase a few, as I come to the cuffs of the sock, I will add a few stitches, just increase a few stitches, and then I will bind off using the stretchy bind off, but bind off on even bigger needles. And this way I'm hoping it will be the perfect sock. So yeah, we will get there in the end. So yeah, that's my first finished object. And we are moving on to the second finished object, which is the tip-top tank, I believe it's called. So this is actually a summer top. I started this summer top maybe about 2 months ago at the end of the summer, maybe in September, October time, and time just always flies away from me. And then I started knitting on other things in between, and then I just put it to the side. So that's why, yeah, I only finished it now recently, maybe 2 weeks ago. And this is the top that I will actually gift to my friend. It was her birthday on the Monday, as I mentioned, and I'll be running to gift it to her. Excuse me. I hope it will fit her. I'm really anxious. I will ask her to try it on as well. In the next episode I can let you know. Or probably even in the description I'll be able to let you know whether it actually fits her, for anyone who is interested. So this is a free pattern. Let me start with the pattern. Yes, I always get ahead of myself. This is the tip-top tank free pattern. I can show you as well. I always print out my patterns by Maker, or designed by Emily Baldwin. Tip-top tank. It's a lovely pattern, considering it's free. It is lovely. I have my knitting journal here. So for each pattern, for each project that I do, I write down the name of the pattern, start date, end date, what yarn I used, how much yarn I used, what the gauge was that I knitted it at, what needle size, the style of knitting, any alterations, and also then the notes. And so having this for each project that I knit, this is a great reference and great tool to go back and see, like if you in the future you're planning to knit XYZ, you then have a rough idea how much yarn you used, what yarn, and yeah, it's great. And it's great record keeping in order to go back and become a better knitter, I suppose. So yeah, the construction of this is quite easy to do as well. I knitted this in a cotton and linen yarn, so a perfect summer yarn, no wool. It was a bit hard on my hands to knit this. So the construction, let me show you. You cast on here, you knit the hem back and forth, 2 pieces, then you join them together, which will create this split hem. Then you join it around, you knit all around, and on the sides you have this lovely patterning going on. 2 pearl, you have 2 pearl columns here, so you knit up. And then you can measure. Let me just put it on. So it doesn't actually fit me because it's for my friend. For me it's way too tight. I went by her measurements. I think she has a 93 centimeter bust, I believe. And so I chose size S or M, I believe. So going back to the construction. So once you come to this part here, you have to split, and then you knit all 4 top parts separately, and you knit them back and forth, and you simply do the decreasing here on the v-neck as well as on the armholes. simple decreasing. It's all spelled out in the pattern. I would say this is beginner friendly. Then when you, so as I said, just to be clear, the two fronts you knit separately. So you have to do that 4 times. When you then make sure that you knit them the same length, so count your rows, and then you do a 3 needle bind offs to join the 2 halves together, and you have a summer top. I think it's so beautiful and so amazing. It makes us knitters feel so special wearing our hand knits. This wouldn't be special if I had bought it in the shop, but because I made it, it's special. So that's my second finished object. And I can see myself knitting this for myself as well. Maybe in a lovely wool yarn. Because this was knit in Belle. So that was my second finished object. And I'm just taking another sip of my water. I'm sorry if you're rushing through this. It is Sunday and my kids are upstairs now. And as I said, I will have to rush out to my friend in a moment. So, yes. Next up, let's talk about my whips. I have 2 whips. I was actually a really good girl and I resisted casting on any new projects because I really made, I kind of made a deal with myself. That sounds a bit silly, but anyway, I just set myself out to do not cast on any new projects because I had in my mind already what I want to knit next, and I wanted to make sure that I finished these 2 items that I just showed you before I move on to new projects, because I do get overwhelmed if I have too many whips. So this is a whip that you would have already seen in my other videos. So this is the lovely pie shawl, and I must say, no other project in the last probably 1.5 years excites me as much as this. So I have to move back so you can see the full beauty on the screen. So my needles are here. I have my end stoppers on there. It's hanging out at the moment on a long cord. And this will be a gorgeous 100% wool round shawl. When I'm in the office, so this is my plan that I had in my mind even before, long time before I cast this on, I had this planned in my mind. When I'm in the office, I'm always cold because our office is quite male dominated, so they always open the windows and I'm absolutely freezing in the office. The plan is this round shawl to drape it over my shoulders, over my back, and that will keep me ever so warm, and I can't wait. And I'm going to make this I'm going to make it as long, not long, I'm going to make it as wide as I can, depending on how it goes with the yarn. So this is the pie shawl. It is not a paid for pattern. You can actually find the instructions online, I believe. There are plenty of YouTube tutorials out there. First I heard of the pie shawl when I watched Stacey Perry. She has a video out on the pie shawl and she gives a really good explanation, and she also shows, she demonstrates it and things like that. She's really awesome. So yeah, this is the first time when I heard of the pie shawl watching her video, and then I purchased the book because it's this book here that I'm using at the moment for the instructions. It's the Elizabeth Zimmermann's Knitting Almanac, and I did show that in the other episodes, so I won't go over it. I also will not talk about the construction today because I find I'm repeating myself and I don't want to do that. But it is knit in the round, and you just simply increase. When you increase, you double your number of stitches. Anyway, that goes into the construction now, so I'm trying not to talk about it. But it is so wonderful. I find this really, really lovely for 2 reasons. Because of the yarn I'm using is very special. It's the Woolly Knits 100% British wool yarn. And I mean, for any wool lovers out there, this is lovely. Everything is lovely about it. The smell, it really smells of sheep, and also the hairiness. I mean, it has this gorgeous. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera. It's quite a rustic yarn as well, quite rustic wool. And it's, yeah, you can see here on the back are the ends where I attach a new collar. So as you can see, I'm alternating colors. And I've already added the next one here. You can see I'm going back and forth with the colors. Oh yes, I was just talking about why I love this project so much. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. So yes, because of the yarn I'm using, it's very special and also inexpensive as well. It doesn't cost too much, which is great. Second reason I love this is because you don't have to do any gauge swatching, you know, to find out, because you're not making a garment, you're making a shawl, which means you can get started straight away. You just cast on and you go. Another reason why I love it so much is because it's knitting in the round, just plain knitting and not purling. I'm a big lover of stockinette stitch, and it's so wonderful after a hard day's at work to sit and knit, and you don't have to think about anything, and you can even just look away. You don't have to always look at your... That's how I feel with my knitting, with my knit stitches, stockinette stitch. I can just watch TV and continue knitting, and I don't have to look, whereas with my purl stitches I have to look. So that's why I love it so much, because it's so simple, but then you still have the interest of the color change and how it grows, and it grows very quickly. It's knitted at a very open gauge. I'm knitting it on 5mm needles, even though this is fingering weight yarn, on 5mm needles, which makes it so quick. Yes, and I wanted to show you the two colors. This is the Harvest Yellow colorway. Now, because of Black Friday, Holy Knit actually had a great sale on, and I did go and purchase another cone. I went for the mustard field color, which is a lovely mustardy yellow. So I purchased it on the Friday when I was in the office. And I can't wait for this to arrive. And this is the grey natural. So I'm using those two colors. And yeah, as I said, it goes really quickly. And I actually have a feeling that this color here, sorry, this, we can't really call it, these parts here are the plain knit rounds, and because they double, they double after each increase round, the next number of rounds I have to knit has to be double that width, and it's going to be 96 rounds I have to knit of this color on over 500 stitches. So one round has over 500 stitches, and I have to knit that 96 rounds. So that's going to be a lot of knitting, and I have a feeling that after I finish this next color, which is going to be huge, you can imagine, because it has to be double the size of this, if you can imagine, because can you see how they grow? Each color grows, so it's going to be very huge. And Elizabeth Zimmermann actually reckons that after the 96 rounds, you will probably get tired, and you will probably find it's big enough to shawl, and then you can stop. And I probably, well, we'll see how it goes. I'm enjoying it so much, I can see myself probably even doing another color after this. But then we're talking just under 200 rounds on over 1,000 stitches. Wow. Is that right? Yeah, it must be right. Yeah, wow, okay. So yeah, that is a lovely whip that I am working on. Oh, and this is the other color as well. So I've wound it into a cake, because then it's more portable rather than carrying the cone with you. So yes, and that brings us to our last whip. Which is, let me show you the swatch first. And yes, and also tell you how I came to cast this on. This is the swatch. And I love this color. Love it. I'm showing you the yarn now, and then we'll talk about what it actually is. This is the Knitting for Olive. This is the Autumn colorway. And let me show you the cast on. I have not got much. I only cast on yesterday. So there is my next project. And I got really excited about this one. That's why I really tried hard to finish all the other ones. So that this is a fresh start for me. And what I'm knitting, so basically many of you I think follow Inga from the knitting traditions as well, and I'm a big fan too, and I think the projects, the patterns that she chooses are so lovely. You know, I find she always gets it right with the color, with the patterns, and so I fell in love with the Jules Genser. Is this how you pronounce it, Jules Genser? Genser must mean sweater then, English word is sweater, so it's the Jules sweater. So when I saw it on Inga's podcast about 3 weeks ago, I fell in love with it, with this pattern, and so I went ahead. I bought the book. It's Sandnes Garn number 2202. So I went ahead, bought the book, and it was really easy for me to get the book. I got it on knitwith2t.co.uk. Doesn't cost that much. It's a lovely book. There are many patterns in there. And what I'm knitting is this one here. Yeah, the Jules Genser. So it's a silk mohair yarn. You use one strand. I think I can say that, yeah, I don't want to say too much, of course, because it's a paid for book. It's at 24 stitches per 10 centimeter. And I just really I have so many other plans, knitting plans, but I really wanted to cast this on. So I went ahead, bought the book, and also the reason why I wanted it so much is because I have this yarn in my stash already. I bought this Knitting for Olive autumn color maybe 1 or 2 years ago. So because I had it in my stash and I thought it's a perfect match. That's why I decided to cast this on, and we'll see how this goes. As I said, it's only early days. Oops. And yeah, knitting with mohair it can be a bit tricky. You have to watch what you're doing because it's easier to lose your stitches because the yarn is so fluffy. The fibers can get caught in each other, and then you might accidentally slip the next stitch of the needle without noticing if you don't look. That's why you have to pay more attention, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I read the pattern through already and there's no problems there. I understand everything. Of course, I bought the English version. Let me show you another picture. So, yeah. It's lovely. So yeah, that's my go-to project now, as well as the pie shawl. And that is it already, my knitting friends. I did say it's going to be a quick one today. I hope I didn't rush it too much. And if I didn't have to go now and finish that, I would probably sit now and maybe talk a bit more, maybe about some audiobooks I'm reading, talk about another proper book, physical book I'm reading, but I shall tell you next time, hopefully. Oh, actually, I can just quickly maybe mention the book that I'm reading. I don't have to show you. At the moment, and this book is actually borrowed from a colleague. This book is called The Power of When. So, just very briefly, this book actually talks about how we're all different types, chronotypes. And so, for example, you have some people that need a lot of sleep, you have some people that don't need much sleep. And so he categorizes humans into 4 types. First type is a lion, and the lions wake up very early. They hunt in the morning at dawn. Lions. Next type are dolphins, who are almost insomniacs, and they half their brain is asleep, half their brain is actually still awake and is always watching out for predators, like the dolphins would in the water. How they sleep, they're still half, they sleep half, they're half awake. So this is the second type, dolphins. The third type are the bears, and I'm a bear. Bears are the ones that do everything during the day, so they're neither lions nor dolphins. so the bears are daytime people, and they're tired in the morning when they wake up. They don't have much great energy in the morning, but then also they get tired in the evening, and they need a lot of sleep. And I'm totally like that. I need a lot of sleep, so I'm a bear. And then the fourth type is the wolf. The wolf is very much energetic and awake in the evening and nighttime. So some extreme wolves are still awake at 2 a.m. and only go to bed then. So this book is talking about the different types and how each type has a different genetic makeup. And for each type, there's a best time, and that depends on your hormones. There's a best time to do everything. There's a perfect time for each type to go to bed at a certain time. But not just the time to go to bed, the perfect time to exercise, the perfect time even to fall in love, the perfect time to eat, the perfect time to drink a coffee. So he's talking about these things, the power of when. And if you follow these rules and you make sure that you go to bed and you wake up at exactly that time, it gives you more energy. He even actually tells you what is the best time to ask your boss for a pay rise and things like that. So that's the book I'm reading at the moment, and that's in your DNA. You cannot change your type. If you are a wolf, you are a wolf. If I did the test, I'm a bear and I need a lot of sleep. And when I went through the test, I just totally saw as well, yes, I'm a bear. I already knew the answer because I had read the description of all 4 types before doing the test. That's how I recognized already my habits. When am I most alert? When do I like exercising the most? What time of day? And these kind of things. So that's very interesting. That's the book I'm reading at the moment. The Power of When. So yes. So now that you saw the episode from 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'm just going to show you the progress now that I've been making. And what whip should I show you first? So I haven't got any finished objects today for you. I have some whips and one new cast on and a dream project, a dream knit as well. Well, not just a dream knit. I think it's going to be an actual future knit. Well, we just have to find the time. So I want to show you first my pie shawl, because I did put some work in, but I'm just going to show you the progress that I've been making. So last time, what you've just saw now, in fact, I had just added the white collar, yeah, and I just had added the collar, and I've just, this is how much knitting I've done so far. I mean, I've been working on other projects as well, so probably how many rounds? 17 rounds I've done. And this round, let me just show you all so you can see it in all glory. At the moment it actually looks almost like a bag. So the needle is here, yeah, here's the needle. It looks like a bag, but it's a round shawl. So the wider, the bigger it gets, you know, obviously it's gonna hang down further. And I don't think I'm going to put it on a larger needle because I'm comfortable like that, it's fine. The stitches are all scooped up as you can see, but it's fine with me. I will add a lace border as well, that will look nice. So that's the progress on that one. This is my in-between project when I just grave stockinette style, stockinette stitch. This is what I grave, you know, when I don't want to think about my knitting, and when I don't want to focus on it, then I can just watch something on the TV and knit. Okay, so that was that, and now, oh yes, this next whip I am very excited about that one. I did put so as I mentioned, it's been about 3 weeks or so, or possibly even, no, 3 weeks, not 4, 3 weeks. So yeah, in the last 3 weeks since I cast this on, I made fair bit of progress on it, and I must say I'm enjoying this one so much. Ooh, this is lovely. So this is the Jules sweater, and I'm just gonna show you the progress now. So this is the yoke that I've done on it. I'm just gonna show you now my progress. This is this lovely lace pattern. So this is the yoke that will sit like that, like so. Because it's on the needles, on the cords, I can't stretch it out for you so much. So this is the lovely lace pattern here, and then it goes into this beautiful pattern. And I think this is quite see-through, so I will have to wear something underneath, a vest, maybe a black vest or a white vest would probably suit better. So yes, I'm really enjoying this one. It's knitted in mohair, silk mohair, and I'm holding, it's single-stranded, yeah, so you hold it only single, not double. And I need a bit of advice there from you. I hope anybody has some experience there. When you drop a stitch, when you're short of one stitch and you don't know what's happened, where's my stitch gone? Like let's say you have 500 stitches, and throughout knitting the pattern you count your stitches and you're suddenly short of one stitch, so you must have dropped a stitch somewhere. Now in non-mohair yarn, in a plain wool or even cotton yarn, it would be probably easy. You can find the stitch and then you can see what stitch you've dropped, and it's easy to correct it. However, because this is mohair, what happened to me is I counted my stitches and realized that I was shy of one stitch. And I know I done the increases correctly. I know I had that stitch, so I must have dropped it somehow. And it's very easy in mohair to drop a stitch. So I was debating, what should I do? I tried to look for it and try to find out what happened. I tried to troubleshoot. But because it's mohair, there's just no way you can find the stitch. So my worry is, if any of you have advice, please just comment below. What do you do if you drop a stitch in mohair? I'm worried about it then unraveling. That's my worry. Of course, I increased by one stitch, so I'm up to the correct stitch count now, so that's fine. But my worry is that it will unravel if that one stitch is dropped and then it drops down further and further. So yes, would be interested in hearing what you guys do. Is there anything that can be done? Probably not much, because mohair is so fuzzy, right? And you're never going to find that stitch again. So that was that one. And that's knit from this book, but you've seen this already. And then I'm moving on to the next one. Which is a reasonably new cast on. And I shall show you the book first. So I am knitting this new project out of this book, Form by Kim Hargreaves. Kim Hargreaves is quite a popular designer, and I'm knitting, this book is called Form. There are 12 patterns, 12 designs in there, and I'm knitting this, I've cast on this top called Slide, and it's knit in Rowan Alpaca Classic, and I'm using this yarn, Rowan Alpaca Classic, and I'm knitting it in this lovely green moss color, which I think is so lovely. It's the first time I'm knitting with this yarn, so it's always an experience. When you choose a new yarn that you've never worked with, you know, you really have to see how it behaves. Do you like knitting with it? How does it feel in your fingers? How does it block out? The stitch definition, is it a good stitch definition? Does it look nice? So far it's alright. It's an alpaca and cotton blend, and this is what I have so far. So this one is knit back and forth from the bottom up, and it's all seamed. So you knit the back piece first, yeah, from the bottom up, then you knit the front piece, and then you seam it all together. And it doesn't have sleeves, and then you just knit, you add a collar as well. Let me grab a drink now. So yes, that's how it's knitted. I don't mind seaming, it's alright. I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but it's okay every now and then. I don't mind it that much. And yeah, so far it's alright. It's okay. It's knit back and forth, so I don't mind purling too much, but I do prefer knitting in the round. So it's an occasional project that I would do every now and then, and it's enjoyable. Regards to tension, again, I made the mistake of knitting my tension swatch way too itty bitty. I have a really itty bitty tension swatch, and I talked about this before, and it's totally my own fault. So look at this itty bitty sample swatch. I am always trying to cheat, yeah. So this one is not even wide enough for me to actually measure 10 centimeters. So there's almost no point knitting a swatch. There's no point knitting a swatch if you don't do it big enough. And I'm telling this myself now, so hopefully in the future I shall do it differently. I'll make it bigger. So this is my tension swatch, and this is in an incorrect gauge, I think, because the knitting is not established. If it's such a small square, the knitting is not established and you don't fully relax into the yarn and into the knitting. Plus also because it is not, I should have knitted it longer because it's still so close to the edges. I added a garter stitch edge, so this way it will lay flat. So here at the bottom is garter stitch, then I do back and forth stockinette stitch, and on the sides garter stitch, so it will lie flat. And because of that, it's not an accurate representation of my gauge, basically. And so with this I had 24.5 stitches, and I need 23 stitches per 10 centimeters. So on 4 millimeters, I'm a tight knitter, so I know I have to always go up in the needle size. And so in the end I chose 4.5 millimeter needles. And I think I'm just going to keep checking the gauge as I knit, and then I can still adjust it and maybe go up or down in the needle sizes depending on what gauge I have in the end. I'm knitting a size, I think I'm knitting a size M. Let's have a look. Yes, a size M, because I have a 36-inch bust, and this gives me exactly 36 inches. So basically 0 ease. So yeah, that's that one. And then that's now almost coming to the end of our progress. So basically 2-in-1 episodes really, and this is almost the end. So what I wanted to show you as well is a future knit that I really want to do, and it's the Ethiopian vest by Fable Knitwear. I think she does gorgeous designs, so I would like to knit that, and I already have some yarn. I have some yarn in my stash in mind for that, which I'd like to use. It's some Noro yarn that I will hold double with silk mohair yarn, and I think that will make a very beautiful vest. So I shall hopefully cast that out soon as well. And then also a couple of acquisitions today as well that I want to show you before I shall say bye to you. So I did spend a bit of money. You know, I figured, I work hard. It's before Christmas, and it was the Black Friday deal, so I did go ahead and purchase some yarn. But it's all for a good cause, for a good project, for a selfless project. Because this, I hope, let me show you the yarn first, and you can see it's a lovely, gorgeous, variegated green. And it's the Yarn Collective Bloomsbury DK Merino Wool. And this will hopefully become the Love Note. The pattern is called Love Note, and it'll be for my mum, I'm hoping. We will see. It will be an adventure. Because she did say that she doesn't think that she will look nice in knitwear, in wool, but I'm trying to convince her otherwise. And so the second acquisition, again purchased on the Black Friday deal. I can't remember how much I got off, but it's the lovely woolly knit Yes, woolly knit, yarn to cone. And look at this lovely color. I love this. I wouldn't go for just a plain yellow, but this is very gorgeous. I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's some greens and some orange and red in there. And I think this would probably make a lovely vest as well, or a lovely cardigan. And then this will bring me to my final acquisition. Let me show you the whole bag, that's more exciting. These here are some lavender sachets, yeah, to prevent the moths eating my wool. And this is so gorgeous as well. Because the lighting is going now, the light, I don't think you actually can see the color very well, but I will still try and show you. And it does feel lovely, soft and rustic at the same time. So as you can see, I got loads. And this yarn is the Cascade yarns, a very popular yarn, Aran weight yarn, Cascade 220, heathers. Yes, this is a heathered color because it has these different, I'm not sure if you can see it, these different colors in it. And the colorway, let me see if I can find the colorway for you. This is Peruvian Highland wool, 100 gram, and it gives you about 18 to 20 stitches. But the color, where's the color? Oh, there. Yes, I can give you the color number in case you're interested. They have a wide variety of color there, many different ones. I found it hard to choose. This color door is the 9564, and I got loads of them. And it's just so gorgeous. I want to knit with all the yarns. Oh. What I can do is as well, I could make this a bulky weight yarn if I hold these two together. How about that? Because this is Aran weight yarn, this is fingering weight yarn. If I hold them together, so double stranded, it will give me bulky weight yarn. Which means I could make a pattern that calls for 15 stitches gauge, and there are plenty of lovely cardigans out there, so that's a possibility. But then at the same time I'm thinking as well that I want to just, because these yarns are so special, I want them on its own. I want to see the loveliness in the garment on its own and not mixed together. But they do complement each other well. They both have these kind of greens and wets inside, so I think I might actually hold them together. And I could just swatch as well and see what comes out. So yeah, that's all very exciting. I just have to find the time to knit it all. Yeah. So yes, my friends, my knitting friends, please tell me in the comments what you're working on. Tell me, I'd like to know as well, some of you knitters, do you feel sometimes you lose your knitting mojo? And then how do you get it back? Or do you just roll with it and not knit maybe for that period of time? Because it's all natural, I suppose. You know, if you don't want to knit, you don't want to knit. And then you discover it again. I mean, I want to knit all the time, I must admit. I knit every day. I knit in my lunch break at work. I knit in the evening when my kids are in bed. I knit weekends when they sit and watch a movie or play. I squeeze in some sneaky knitting time. So, but yeah, sometimes I do feel, sometimes you get a bit overwhelmed, and sometimes you can feel the pressure as well. And then you just have to relax and think and ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I knit? And sometimes for me, what helps as well is to just focus on one project and focus on this only, and just maybe even stop watching knitting podcasts for a while. I was actually thinking that maybe not watch so many knitting podcasts. Maybe not go on Instagram too much, because then it's all the information overload, and then you always feel like, oh gosh, this is gorgeous, I want to knit this, and then you leave your current whip behind and you cast on something new, and then that's how I feel personally. I don't like to jump from project to project and before actually finishing it and before enjoying it. That takes the fun out of it. So sometimes I feel that I have to just sit back and not get so much involved and not get the inspiration in that sense, because I have so many projects already on my needles or in my queue on Ravelry. Speaking of which, you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram, but please, if you look, you will see that I haven't posted much lately, so I'm not that active at the moment on Instagram. I'm hoping that I will be more active in the future. When my girls are a bit older, they still need me a lot. We have a 4 and an 8-year-old, as returning viewers know. So yes, I feel bad if I sit on the phone on Instagram and my girls need me. They talk to me, and it's not right. So anyway, so I think should we wrap this up for today? Yes. I was going to show you that book as well. I'm just going to quickly run upstairs and get this book that I wanted to show you. The book I mentioned earlier, that I'm reading at the moment. Just hang on. Yeah, there we are. This is the book I'm reading at the moment. The Power of When. I'm about halfway through. It is quite interesting. So as I mentioned before, in this episode, it talks about I think they're called chronotypes. Everybody has a different biological clock, basically, in their body. Because there are different chapters focusing on different aspects of your life. And one of the aspects I found very interesting is as well, and this can actually save lives, that if you have an illness and you take medication, there's actually always a best time and a worst time to take a particular set of medication or pills. So if you take it at the worst time, the medication has almost no effect. Or if you take it at the best time, it can basically save your life. So I found that extremely interesting. So I would recommend this book if you're very health conscious, you're into health and things like that. I would recommend this book. It is by Michael Bruce, PhD. The Power of When. And for example, your immune system only actually kicks in and works and fights off any foreign bodies like bacteria or virus, only is actually working really well when you are asleep, when you're sleeping. That's another interesting fact that I've learned through this book. So when you don't get enough sleep, if you're always sleep deprived, that means that your body can't actually fight the viruses or any illness for that matter. So another reason why it's really important to get enough sleep. And I find it important to eat well and go to bed early. So that we don't get ill. So yes, my lovely knitters, YouTubers, I'm going to say bye for now, and I shall see you in the new year. I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and wishing you lovely making, and yeah, I shall see you. Take care, my friends. Bye.